Hi, and welcome to Creative AI. I am Pixelpia, and this is what I call the Prompt Lab, where we convert words to worlds. And today we are going to experiment with building out our prompts. And for each word we add, we will see how it changes the scene and how it influences the mood of the story we are telling visually. So with that said, let's move over to my computer and Midjourney. So here we are in Midjourney, and as always in this series, we're going to turn off all personalization. We're going to set our image to 4:3. Make sure we have no aesthetics turned on and that we're working in version 7 standard and standard all the way through. And as always, we are using the prompt "a girl in a forest" as our base. Let's repeat that one. This prompt, "a girl in a forest," gives Midjourney a lot of freedom. No emotion, no direction, just the concept. And here we have the basic concept of a girl in a forest, the way Midjourney 7 interpret that very basic prompt. Now we're gonna add emotion. So instead of "a girl in a forest," we say "a frightened girl in a forest." And here we're adding some tone. There is a little tension in the image. A story starts to take shape here. And this time we even got a drawing. Just as comparison, we're gonna add two opposite feelings. So the next one we're gonna add is "a joyful girl in a forest." And again, we add some interest, some feeling, some emotion, and we can see the beginning of a story here. But they are quite different from the first 4 images with the frightened girl. But let's keep on building. Let's add some directional information. So let's start with the frightened girl in the forest and add "in a dense, foggy forest." Now we're starting to describe the environment. And here we go. We start to really build up the tension and the atmosphere. Here is the frightened girl in a dense, foggy forest. But let's also see what happens when we do "a joyful girl in a sunlit forest." A very different feeling this time. So now we have added description of the girl and of our fun forest, our environment. Let's add some lighting. And let's start with "a frightened girl in a dense, foggy forest, cinematic lighting." And here it adds even more drama to our images with the lighting directions. Let's do the same with our "joyful girl in a sunlit forest, golden hour lighting." And here we get a totally different mood and feeling with that golden hour light in our images. But let's not stop there. Let's add some framing and camera lenses and start with "a frightened girl in a dense, foggy forest, cinematic lighting," and then we add Dutch angle 85mm lens. And now we are starting to directing the images. Composition, perspective, and intensity. And for the joyful girl, we add "a joyful girl in a sunlit forest, golden hour lighting, wide angle lens, and soft focus." And this is very soft feeling. The sun, the golden hour is still represented, but it's a totally different mood once again. But let's add some details and style to this. For our frightened girl in a dense foggy forest with cinematic lighting, Dutch angle, 85mm lens, we're adding volumetric light and high detail. And now we have really interesting images. Precision, they are polished, they show the story we want to tell. And for the joyful girl, let's add joyful girl in a sunlit forest, golden hour lighting, wide angle lens, soft focus, light, bokeh, and painterly style. And these images are almost dreamy with the bokeh, am I pronouncing that right? In the background and the focus on the girl. So what I will do now is set up a collage for you where you see how we're building from one image to the next. So now let's take a look at a couple of the examples side by side. The same starting point for all of them, a girl in a forest. But each word you add doesn't just describe more, it shapes what Midjourney sees. Each word adds control, but it also carves a path for your storytelling. So please enjoy these images. In my next video, we will test two extremes. We will compare a very simple prompt versus a very complex prompt. The same concept in both, totally different results. So if that interests you, why don't you hit the little subscribe button underneath this video and maybe even turn on notifications by clicking that little bell. As always, stay curious. Bye!